Good morning, everybody. Let's see if this actually picks up the game. Hey, there we go. Oh, hello, Scott. You're early today with what from this distance look like haunted sheep, but they have beaks, so they're very haunted sheep. How are you doing today? Oh, haunted dolphins. Oh, that's better. Question mark. Are the volume levels okay? As far as I can tell, I can't change the volume in game, so I've been fiddling with them in OBS today. So, hopefully you can hear me. It's a bit more chilled than some screaming dolphins in the chat. So yes, today we're going to play In Other Waters, which is a game by Jump Over the Age. Gareth Martin, I think it is. I'd been told about this game a very, very long time ago, or a couple of years back, because it's this beautiful kind of game all based around UI. It's been on my list to play for ages. I kept forgetting about it. And then I played a bit of Citizen Sleeper, which is the not sequel, but the game that they made after this, which is really, really cool and really interesting. If you like hard sci-fi in particular, it's fantastic. It's, about capitalism and dying in the voids of space and lots of other cute stories. But I felt like before I played that one, I really should play that one on stream, because I need to actually play that fully. We should play this one, which I know very little about. I actively didn't read much about it. So we're just going to basically get going and see what this is. Apart from apparently beautiful. So we will find out, I suppose, what this is and what we're supposed to do in this together. If it's anything like Citizen Sleeper, it's going to be highly narrative based and probably have some hard sci-fi elements, which I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, though, it'll be a bit more of a chill game, because maybe have a teeny bit of a hangover from last night, so stuff where I don't have to think too much and don't have to drive upside down sounds good to me. Ooh, exoplanet extraction. Oh, I'm playing this with a mouse, as you can see. It did give me the option to play over controller when I started up. But if I'm going to be doing lots of pointing and clicking, I want a pointer. I've also heard this is a very limited colour palette game, which is all sorts of my sort of thing. And there are some pretty particles already. Oh. Oh, the pretty particles broke everything. Okay, recovering last known log. Log recovered, dated 2189. User and sensorium. User AN? Sensorium disabled. AN, there isn't any time left. This is going to be more restrictive than you are used to, but you are resourceful. I know you. I'm sorry, Okai, but I can't let them find you. I can't lose everything we've achieved here. I'm not even going to attempt to try and figure out what that says. User disconnected. Continue with boot to click or A. Yeah, we'll continue with boot. I guess this is us. Hello, is someone there? This is Dr. Ellery Vass. I urgently need all systems of this suit activating. Yes, we've got a timer that it will go on without us if we don't click. I've been locked out and I'm 20 meters below the surface here. So maybe that's not us. Maybe that's somebody on our scanners. I assume Ellery Vass. I say this again. This is Dr. Ellery Vass. Can any operator personas on this suit please respond? I guess yes, I can respond. Alright, good. Operator activate all systems. Pilot authorization granted. So I guess we have a yes and a no response down here. Ooh, lots of buttons. I mean, I'm going to assume we want to do power. The power panel is activating, plenty of juice. Okay. Ah yes, so comms, power. Interesting. I mean, oxygen's normally a good idea. Oxygen panel is up and rebreather functioning. I'm off reserve oxygen now. Cool. Oh, so many pretty dials. Okay. Let's finish up this side. Utility. Utilities available. Let's see. Sampling, sample storage, terminal and retrieval seem to be installed. Interesting. I don't know which is which of those buttons. I guess we'll have to find that out as we go. Let's check depth. Okay, good. The dive panel is active. Current reading of 20 meters. Yep. Interesting. Heading. I'm seeing the heading panel coming online. Excellent. And man, I already love how this UI looks. Very, very pretty. Let's do scan and topography. Scan and topography readings coming through. Looking good. Interesting. So you don't even know what you're doing. You're not an operator, aren't you? No, I don't know what I'm doing. Then what are you? Why are you installed in this suit? Help me out here. I mean, oh man, that's an awfully big question for a slightly hungover Sunday. I knew there was something strange about this suit when I got inside. It looks decades old. That's rude. Accurate, but rude. Look, we don't have time for this, so whatever program or system you are, I need you to work with me. I guess we are the program and or system. You seem to respond to voice commands, so that's a start. We need to head north. Okay. I'll explain once we get going. But right now I'm locked out of half the systems of this suit. Someone somehow has rewritten the permissions to only respond to internal messaging. That means you. Uh-oh. So I'm going to need you to take control. Let's get moving. Take me north into the reef. Please. Oh well. At least we've got a polite human inside of us. Okay, so we've got contour lines and topography around. So I guess this is the world, but then we have a more in-depth scan in a radius around us. So, oh, we can zoom in and out a little bit on that. Not particularly much, to be fair. Ooh. That's like a radar ping. So there's something up there we can go to. Does that take me back? Yeah. Oh, good. It's just giving me lots of buttons without explanation that I can prod and fiddle with. Always, always good. What's that one? Unknown region, additional DAR. Additional DA. Okay, not sure what that does yet. They said this was all sample-based stuff. Oh yeah, biosample. Retrieval. Biosample. Sample storage. Access terminal. Interesting. I assume this is for directional heading, yeah. Then how do we make it go? Okay, so I can change what I assume is the heading. Did they want us to put that to north? No? Okay. Ah, oh, okay, I can click that. Southern Gully feature. Steep rock walls rise up towards the surface on either side. The floor is layered with pale sand. EV. Marked. Okay. Oh, okay. So we find a thing, and then we can target the thing using this, which gives us a vector. Vector clear. So I guess that button will then move us. Ah, okay. Good, whatever you're doing, it's working. Let's keep heading north. I mean, we're definitely heading north west here, not north, but okay. Does that mean I need to scan again for another waypoint? Yeah, okay. Narrow pass. A boulder fills the passage, blocking out the warm light of Gliese 667 CC's 3 stars. Okay, alien planet. So pressing that button obviously targets it, and then we can move forwards. As we move forwards, our power, I assume this is our power consumption going up, and this is our overall power around the outside, which maybe means that's why the oxygen consumption's fluctuating, because whatever's inside us is breathing. Which I suppose should be allowed, really. Okay, so yeah, you have to find the things and click on the things. Gully opening. Here the passage opens out back into the dappled light of the reef's shadows. And if I want to, I can manually target. Okay. So we've basically got a network graph that we can navigate around, that we discover as we go. Soft currents. The softly flowing water is filled with glittering particles of organic matter, signs of rich and thriving life all around. And it's feeling like nice and warm and tropical, which is quite nice on a cold winter's day like this one. Oh! Look, in the water are those spores, and those stalks to the west, they look like huge fungi. Interesting. This is unbelievable. Actual alien life. How could Minnie have kept this place a secret? I saw her notes at the base when I landed, and some telltale signs on approach, but here it is. The first extraterrestrial life humanity has ever discovered. Oh wow. I can't believe it. Interesting. Interesting, and we can only see life when it's in scan range. So it's like long range scans versus close range scans, I guess. Ooh. Multiple places to go. Bed of stalks. These stalks are beautiful. I wonder how they feed, how they grow, how they communicate. This place, this planet, needs to be studied. Keep scanning creatures, and I'll keep notes. Once we've gathered enough data, I can name and log each species. No matter what happens here, this is vital work. Okay, so we've got a little thing filling up down here. Fungal creatures made up of a series of stalks and plates attached to the rock. Colour changes from dark amber to acid yellow. Yeah, and that's the human inside of us right now. Dr. Vass. This creature's external membrane appears to be made of layers of chitin, like earth arthropods or fungi. Okay. Beds of these creatures coat the pale rocks. Are these plants or animals? They're unlike any earth coral or sponge. Or the southern nursery. Protected by the ridges from the strong northern currents, this could be a safe haven for younger, softer species. So we've got an option of where to go. Let's go over to the stalks first. Oh. We just scared something else. What are those creatures? They were hidden among the stalks. Quickly, try to get a scan. That one. Oh, yeah. I guess I maybe failed to get the scan. Oh, no, there they are. Come back. Agile creature. Striped with luminous colours, these flexible, flapping creatures move rapidly through the water with little effort. These are such lively creatures and so colourful too. I'll start logging my observations. Okay, I'm on that one. Ah. Come back, lively creatures. These creatures appear to manoeuvre with a series of siphon jets concealed beneath their folded mantles. They are incredibly fast. Okay, and we can scan these other beds of stalks. I'm seeing a complex pattern of contracting and expanding slits in these stalks' membranes. Mouths or sensing organs. Why not both, as they say? These colonies are producing a shifting hum. Perhaps it's a form of communication between individuals. Man, it's really interesting. Like, I like how they're doing this, so you don't actually get to see any of it, but you get to imagine it from the descriptions. That's very cool. Let's go up to the other area. Oh no, hang on. Let's make sure we've clicked that one. The stalks here are furred with spores which appear to have drifted down from the northern part of the reef. Okay. Oh, that's got a double circle on it. I wonder why it's got a double circle. I think we just scared more creatures out of the beds of stalks. No, they're scanned ones. I wonder what we do about the power situation. I'm seeing spores entering and exiting the slits on the surfaces of the stalks. Something is being exchanged. Among these spore-clogged stalks are piles of small stones. Could a creature have grabbed them here, or just the currents? Okay. Oh, sample candidates. Okay. Let's go to this one because it's closest. Then go back to the other one, perhaps. These stalks are covered in spores of all sizes. Perhaps we can sample one of the larger ones. I'm in position. You'll have to take the sample, open up the sampling utility. Yes, I remember which one that was. That one? Oh yes, maybe. Okay, so that's, yeah, we need to target it on this one. Fungal... 5% of whatever that is, 0% of that. Oh, and we close both sides to target it. And then I guess we press the retrieve button. We've got one. Biological samples are vital tools for analysing and understanding creatures. This suit should also allow you to deploy a sample back into the ocean. How about you test it out? Hold it and drag it over to the central compass. Deploy inside line. It's a stalk spore containing a complex cocktail of minerals and compounds. Let's put it back over here. Oh yeah, there they go. Great, that's working as it should. Look, those creatures are coming for the spores. Why though these ones in particular, I wonder? Perhaps different spores carry different compounds, each with a specific purpose or message. What do you think? Could the spores be a way of communicating between different colonies? Yes, maybe. Isn't that strange? Fungi on Earth form networks of exchange. Maybe these stalks do the same. Anyway, sorry, I'm not sure why Let's keep moving. Okay. Let's scan the stuff around here. Oh, there's also a fast-moving one I'll grab in a second. The colonies seem to be broken up into individual patches and then larger groups over a wide area. Flitting around the reef, these creatures chase stalk spores with great enthusiasm. Is this their primary food source? Maybe, Scotty, these are the dolphins that are swimming around. Brightly coloured, stripy dolphins. Zolphins, maybe. These creatures aggressively pursue certain spores but ignore others completely. Can they detect differences in the mineral content? Silent clearing. What? You've got a lot of dolphin. It's a lot of dolphin images right in there. What is it that dictates the reef's growth pattern? Sunlight, the flow of water, whatever it is, then it must be absent here. Spores from the main part of the reef are brought into the southern nurseries from here by a steady current. Okay. Let's go get that other sample. This was down this way. I hate dolphin because of the hell that is Echo the Dolphin. Echo the Dolphin is absolutely a completely normal game where a dolphin talks to space crystals. I don't see what's weird about that at all. Okay, let's lock the sampler. Retrieve the sample. Okay, well I guess we can put that back. And then that attracts... Oh yeah, actually it does attract those creatures. The fish. Interesting. Okay. New species logged. Reef stalks. I'm uploading my initial notes. Let's call these reef stalks. We can classify this species in the lab. Fungal creatures which communicate through sound and spores. An interlocking ecosystem seeded across the reef. Okay. This rock sits amongst layers of lichen. Could it have been thrown here during volcanic activity? During a volcanically active period in the planet's history? Okay. Well, let's go to that one. Okay, so it looks like this is funneling us back into the same direction, so that's fine. Is this the way we can then go up and out, perhaps? Hey, can I ask you something? Sure, let's be chatty. I've worked with AI programs before, but you aren't like them. No, most AI programs don't drink. They are predictable, programmatic, dull. Their intelligence allows them to log and process data. That's all. Man, this doctor is not wanting to make friends, eh? But you are different. I feel like you are alive. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, just about. Then you are different. I'm glad I'm not just imagining it. What are you? What are you doing in this suit? I guess that is a mystery that we are going to figure out together through the video game. Okay, northern current. The current running into the reef slows here, but further north the water whips down the rift with incredible speed. I thought you liked Echo the Dolphin, Scott. Okay, now we've fully gathered data on that species. We don't need to gather it anymore. I see. Okay. Long rift. Ah yes, that's that bit going up that direction, isn't it? Wide and long, with sheer rock walls on either side, this deep rift channels unpredictable currents. Overgrown arch. This arch is covered in hardened stalks, perhaps the slow current passing through brought their spores to settle here. Let's go this way, because I guess we probably can't go through there? Oh no, it looks like we can go through there. Does that mean we can't go down the rift, or do we have to pick a direction to go? Oh, we can go down the rift. Interesting. Flecked with spores, this water runs fast and hard. The suit can't push any further north without better propulsion. Okay, let's go there, but I assume... Ah, yeah, okay. Strong current vector blocked. So we obviously need to upgrade our suit somehow to go in that direction. Okay. Let's go and explore these other types of plants then, I guess. A large stalk. Static creature made up of one huge inflexible stalk. Unclear if swaying is due to current or produced by the stalk's own body. These huge stalks are incredible. Oh no, I skipped it. They are leaking spores into the water as the fruiting bodies attracted to their skin bloom. Okay. Many of the stalks are leaking particles into the water as they sway. Are these spores or something else? These larger stalks sway all around this basin. They almost resemble branchless trees bending in a storm. Alright, well, I guess let's go frolic amongst the large stalks, so to speak. Did you see that? The stalks responded to our movement. They extended as we passed through the arch. Uh-oh. Perhaps it was the sound we made when we moved through, or perhaps they are all triffids. We should be careful not to get trapped here. This suit's power capacity is limited. That feels foreshadowy, doesn't it? Oh. A shelled creature, that's new. These creatures have such beautiful translucent shells. I'll start logging data on them as we find them. Mobile creature with a large translucent shell and 4 swimming appendages, which it uses in a rapid rowing motion. More large stalks. The chitin of this stalk's membrane is very hard, but flexibility is given by a surface of overlapping plates. There's a lot of activity among the rocks ahead. Creatures are grazing on and living among the stalks, forming a complex ecosystem. Man, the noises are really, really good. Ah, I see. So we've been blocked off from going backwards. You have to keep going. Find a better propulsion system somewhere. Look, over to the southwest. That stalk is totally calcified. Looks like a good sample candidate. Okay, so that's over in that direction, I guess. The plates of the stalk's surface passing over one another must be producing the distinctive hum that can be heard. These creatures must be related to the other stalks on the reef, but seem to have a separate purpose to the lower beds. It is safe to assume that the singing of these stalks relates to the communication between the colonies seen elsewhere on the reef. Okay, well, let's ignore the sample candidate for a second, or maybe go north. This huge stalk is totally still, its plates hardened into a rocky shell. Can it be revived, or is this what death looks like here? Alright, keep it light, Doctor. I guess we'll go collect that sample. Oh. After we scan that crab. These creatures glide among the reef stalks with great care and precision. They appear to be grazing on them. Okay. Let's go over to this direction. This stalk looks dead. Open up the sample panel, we can extract some of the outer membrane. Okay. There's lots of dead material here, so we should be able to take multiple samples. Okay. Oh yeah, there's multiple blips coming off. It's 50% fungal, apparently. So we've got that one. And we'll grab that one as well. Okay. So the chitin appears to be hardened with calcium carbonate. That could be useful if we need to boost our power. This suit is able to metabolize organic compounds to produce fuel. Just drag them into the power panel. The suit displays how much oxygen or power each sample can produce, no point wasting important samples. With these we can keep one sample so we can analyze it back at base and use the other for a power boost. Interesting. Interesting, okay. Right, before we do that, let's just go back and look the other route, because I think the other route was blocked, but I wanted to confirm that. Yes, it is blocked. The growth gets heavier as we travel north into the stalk forest. Something about it, giving it that name, makes it feel safer and more familiar. Okay, so we can't go that way. So let's go back this way. Scan some more stalks. Ooh, Sing Stalk. I've named these Sing Stalks for that strange hum they produce. What is its precise function, I wonder? Large stalks which sway, producing a distinctive hum or groan, part of the network of stalks which is found across the reef. Okay. So, I want us to drag this into here. Okay, so that helps refill our power. So collecting samples seems to be a way that we could make sure we don't run out of power, and the squishy human inside of us doesn't run out of oxygen. The space between the rocks here is thick with stalks. The elaborate patterns they trace across the reefs are beautiful. Let's go see them. There's another of those fast-moving critters. There it is. The relationship between these creatures and the stalks is unclear, but they camouflage themselves among the amber colonies. Bear Canyon. The rocks here are clear of stalks and other growths. Is their absence a territorial marker, or just a side effect of the conditions of these waters? Interesting. So the stalks grew shut behind us again. So we're not doing a particularly good job of not getting trapped. Cavern edge. A large cavern drops down into the reef here. Its entrance is shadowed by the surrounding rocks. But I would argue we're doing a terrible job of not getting trapped by these stalks. Looks like a deeper rift again. The water is still in the yawning entrance to the cavern. There are no signs of stalks or other reef life around the entrance. So I guess we go into the spooky cavern then. Oh, it's got a down arrow in. Does that mean we have to go down to go underneath it? I assume yes. Interesting. We can close that screen. Oh man. I love how the entire colour palette of the interface changes. Again, that's very cool. 28 meters under the water now. Stalk patches. The patchy sunlight coming through the broken cavern roof is enough to allow stalks to grow here, if that is what they require. Ah yes, and I've got this little cavern route, which we can see. Okay, cool. So those must be the normal stalks. It's a tall stalk. These tall stalks seem to watch over the smaller colonies. I'll start logging notes. A tall bubble-coated stalk which sits among the reef stalk colonies, covered in wide irising pores? I don't know that word at all. I'm going to have to look that word up now. Is irising pores? What does that mean? It means opening and closing like an aperture, typically that of a lens. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Opening and closing like an iris. Glittering stalk. Soft sunlight spills down onto a long, thin stalk stretching towards the light. A coating of large glassy bubbles glitters on its skin. Let's go see if we can take a sample from that. Ah, yeah, we can. It's got the sample icon. Ooh. Looks like potentially free samples. Lichen 0%, signal 10%. Interesting. I wonder what that means. These gaseous bubbles are intriguing. The interior gas is at an elevated pressure. If this membrane ruptured, the sac would screech as it depressurized. Goodness. Is this part of the stalk's communication system? You've seen across the reef? Wait, I have an idea. Try deploying one by that blocked tunnel over there. I want to see how the stalks react. Just drag one over. I will do once I've finished collecting samples. Okay, so we have spherical gas-filled membranes produced by stalks. Alright. Clogged tunnel. Stalks mesh across the cavern here, hardened into a near-solid wall of tubes and plates. So I guess we can't go there. Yeah, alright. So if we deploy that over there... Interesting. They're attracted. These bubbles must be some kind of signal system. I'll call them shrill sacs for that squeak. We can use these to get through the heavy growth ahead. Okay. Let's get moving. Sure, okay. So I guess light puzzly elements as well as we find things that can interact with other stuff in the world. The caverns curve away in both directions here. It's hard to see the way ahead. And these shrill sacs give us oxygen but no power. So I guess you're wondering where we are heading. There's a way station just north of here, on a finger of this reef. I want to find it. My shuttle touched down just hours ago at a floating research base to the south. That's where I found this suit. I'm here looking for Dr. Mine Nomura, chasing a message all the way from Earth. I must sound mad, coming out here to a planet in the tail of Scorpius just to follow a message. Wait, you do know where we are, don't you? I have absolutely no idea. How we're on Gliese 667cc, a supposedly unremarkable world, if it wasn't for all this life. Somehow the exoplanetary extraction corps must have passed by it. How did Mine know to come here? Is that why she contacted me? To verify her discovery? Then where is she? Look, let's find that way station, then I can start piecing together what's going on. How many bets that we put ourselves in a suit after some terrible accident, and we are the consciousness in this suit that the main character is looking for. The cavern narrows here, and the small eddies of water twirl in the silt. I guess that's going to be our way back up. A current can be felt drifting through the cavern entrance, bringing with it warm clouds of silt. Man, I would love to be in some warm tropical sea right now. That sounds just about right. Alright, let's go up to 20 meters again, I guess. Okay, so that's where we came in down there, I think. So let's keep scanning. Stalks of this kind seem to produce different bubbles depending on the nearby stalks. They are the protectors of their colonies. Okay, does that mean that's a sample spot? Yes. That looks like a bubble stalk place again. So let's go and get more of these bubbles, because I assume we'll need them to escape the area we're stuck in. It's very tactile, this interface. I like it. Okay, so we've got a bunch more shrill sacs which we can use. Currently not running out of oxygen either, so I guess that's going to be a future problem. Rock outcrop. The scattered boulders and steep rifts of the southern reef suggest a violent geological past. I can't help but feel some unseen process in shaping the growth patterns of this reef. What invisible borders am I crossing? Let's go to that one first, I guess. See if there's anything we can scan from here. No, it looks like that's the way out. Go that way. Unlike the other specimens, this large stalk sits alone away from the lower beds. It is hard to tell if this is the beginning of a colony or its end. Okay, there's nothing to sample on that one though. So we'll just keep going, I guess. Stalks are more sparse between these rock outcrops, but it might be the easiest path north if I can clear the way. Okay, so we can go that way. Deep forest. The stalks are so thick here, a sea of amber waving fingers that must be cleared before we can pass through. Spore clouds. The relative calm of this basin means the water is clogged with spores released by the larger stalks. Guess let's go that way first. See if we can sample any stalks. Ah, no, but that's our way back through to where we started, right? Because we tried to come this way before. So, because we've got plenty of these. Interesting. It's got an area of effect. Does that scan unlock anything? Oh yeah, it's unlocked a bunch of these sing stalks. Okay. So we can now go back to where we were if we need to come back this way, so that's good. But I guess we want to go this way. Let's put it there and unlock a path. Up through here, through the deep forest. Navigating these dense growths is like finding your way in a labyrinth, moving from clearing to clearing with little sense of what's ahead. Another thing to scan there. Some creatures target these tall stalks directly, perhaps because they keep them away from other softer stalks nearby. Bubbles like huge pearls glint among the stalks. How do these tall stalks produce these strange, screeching sacs? Well, we can go there and we can get more of the screech sacs that will let us move forwards, I suppose. So let's grab these. Okay. Guess we want to go that way. The growth patterns of the stalks suggest a complex territorial network. Are we underestimating the complexity of these life forms? I mean, almost certainly. Humans have a habit of doing that all the time. A signal stalk. What have you got to say about that, Doctor? I'm going to call these signal stalks for the signalling role they play in the stalk ecology. Oh, we'll scan that. Shelled creature. A delicate set of feeding appendages beneath the creature's shell seem to scrape the outer membrane of the stalks away. These are tall bubble-producing stalks that protect and monitor stalk colonies, a key part of the stalk network that stretches across the reef. Occasionally, when the creature scrapes the stalks too aggressively, they react and let out a defensive signal to the nearby colonies. There seems to be some tolerance for the creature's scraping by the stalks. They only warn the creature when it cuts too deeply. There we go. That's all of the crab type things scanned. I know these stalk scrapers for obvious reasons. You can check my notes back at the base. A large creature with a translucent shell and joined legs for swimming and feeding grazes on the membranes of the reef stalks. Okay, so that's where we can get more bubbles from. What's over that direction? East and west are stalks as far as the eye can see. They fade off into the silt-like towers of the miniature city. Let's get the samples first. Okay. So can we go that way or is it blocked? That way's blocked, but we have plenty of these to do this with now. But I think we should go this way first and check before we run off that way, because I think that's the way we're supposed to be going. Which means I always want to go in the opposite direction first. Spores from the stalks seem to be massing in large clumps. This might be a good place to sample them. Or the two boulders are covered with tiny stalks, a coating of amber fur waving in the currents. Okay, well let's go to this one first. Scare some little critters off on the way. Oh, that's one of the fast-moving ones. I've noticed smaller, spotted variants of these creatures, another species, or perhaps sexual dimorphism. These might be the males. Okay, so what are these that I can sample? Ah, we're full. Okay. I seem to remember that these attracted the other creatures, right? Yes. There we go, a spore catcher. Agile jet-propelled creatures with colourful mantles found hidden among the reef stalks colonies feeding on their spores. I'm going to call these spore catchers as they're so eager to gather the stalk's spores. Okay. So I'm supposed to go back that direction, but I'm going to deploy one of those so I can finish sampling here. Just in case we need some of these types of samples too. And because we probably want one to take back to base for scanning as well. Wherever this base is and whatever we can do at said base. Let's just check up this way as well. Forest edge, the last line of fixed stalks before the sandy plains of the central reef. Okay, let's not go that way. Let's go back this way for now. We can drop one of those over there to unlock that route. Head up that way. That's it, we're through. This place is overwhelming. So many new species. This is the central reef. I saw it on Minnie's maps that the shelf flattens out here. Okay. A set of smooth stones sitting together in a pile. Could a creature have gathered them here? Is this a nest? Let's go up that way then. Oh, I think we just scared another creature there. The waters beneath this outcrop feels cool, oceanic, soft currents scrape sand from the rock face. And this game would be a really good I love living on a main road. This game would be a really good test for you know, budding theatre actors. Talking about shifting, shimmering sands sounds like one of those tests you'll get, like the Peter Piper picked a pick of pickled peppers. Ripples of silt bounce through sunlight, back up through the water, giving it a golden glow. This whole place sounds lovely. And on the way past, let's just open up that route as well. Central plain. The centre of the reef is flat and sandy, with few rocks to attach to the stalks. With rocks to attach to the stalk. Okay, no, let's try that again. The centre of the reef is flat and sandy, with few rocks to attach to. The stalks struggle to seed these waters. Oh, that looks human-made. Ah, there it is. I see the way station ahead. I was about to say, that does not look stalk-like. A way station set up by Minae Nomura. It's seen better days, but it still functions beneath the coating of stalks. Yes, let's go into the way station then. This place is looking a little worse for wear. Let me see if I can find an access port. Minae never did take care of her equipment. Some things never change. Sorry, give me a sec. I'm just trying to... Got it. Okay, we should be able to access any data stored here. Just open up the terminal and take a look. Which one's the terminal? Ah, that one's the terminal. Spoofing user Dr. Minae Nomura. Last access history cleared. Download log. Yes or no? So does this mean we can recharge our power here? Yes. Helpful. We can recharge our oxygen. We don't really need to recharge our oxygen. We can get a bunch of map data, which is probably useful. Sync complete. Data released to pilot's console. Logs have been cleared. I expected that given the secrecy Minae seems to be operating under. But the map data mentions something Minae calls the Bloom out across the northern rift. She's been going back and forth to something there, studying it. A unique species, perhaps. Minae, what were you doing here? Why were you keeping this discovery from the world? From me? I'm talking to myself again, or to whatever you are. Sorry, I don't mean. Let's head back to the research base. I need to think. This way station operational, we can call in the basis retrieval drone from the utility panel. This drone will be able to pick us up from any area we've got map data for. Let's head back to base. I've got a lot to figure out. That's that one then. Anything else around here? This stalk is leaking spores from a wide slit in its side. They are carried across the soft sand by the currents coming from the eastern rift. I think that's not going to let me travel anywhere, yeah. Okay, so I guess we're going back to the main base, wherever that is. Mapped region, connection available. Set up a link. Connection complete, drone ready. Okay. Let's go back to the base, wherever that is. Oh, okay. Interesting. Hey, are you back online? Yeah. Pretty sharp work for a biologist, even if I do say so myself. Hooking up that strange casing of yours to the base took some work. And the OS here does not play nicely with wherever you are. But you should have access to select subsystems of the stack now. Man, that is alliterative again. Minae looks to have repurposed some of them, so not everything is functional. Comms are shot, the generator is only partially working, and one of the retrieval drones is missing. But I've booted up the dive bay's mapping systems and sample storage. The lab is also online with analysis tools and integrated taxonomy for logging creatures. Take a look. I've already logged the creatures we discovered on our last dive. For any logged creatures, I'll also put sample requests in their taxonomy entries. So fill these requests, just find and transfer the samples to the lab, then analyse them. I can use that data to add to the creature study. We need to register these species. Head down to the lab level to take a look. I'll also mark sample requests on the dive map. That way you can grab key samples for our studies while we're out in the ocean. We're going back out soon. While you're offline, I spotted a signal, a suit transponder. You can see its location on the dive map. I want to find it. A suit transponder means a suit, and a suit means Mene. I'll need your head. That suit takes both of us to pilot it. It's the only one I've got. Once you're done exploring the base, load into the dive map, we can head out from there. Okay, so I guess we have this structure of going on ocean dives, coming back, fiddling with stuff when we get back. So let's start at the top. Modular base stack. So our comms: signal error, antenna damaged, automatic repair not possible, offsite assistance needed. Okay. We have a habitat where Ellery Vass is. Our life support looks alright, so that's probably good. We have the bay, which is where our sample store and our dive map is. So let's go to our sample store. Ah, I see. So we've got a big menu of... Yeah, I like that. We've got a big menu of like backup storage where you can stick stuff. We've got the lab, where you can do sample analysis and taxonomies. Med bay, med subject non-active, base user detective, medical assessment due. Our generator, which is active, but running not very well. Tidal turbines are active, that's useful. And our observation blister. Sonar system required crew. Interesting, okay. So let's have a look what we need in here. Yeah, okay. So it's got a hierarchy of... Oh, it's not a hierarchy, it's a list. Okay, so we've got fungal stalks. And we've got the 3 stalks that we found on the dive, the reef, the sing stalk, and the signal stalks. Oh, interesting. So there's a lot of details in here. Reef stalks are fungal life forms which take on the form of a series of stalks and plates anchored to rocky substrates. Their chitin exterior ranges in colour from dark amber to acid yellow, leading them to resemble oversized lichens. This outer membrane is marked with slits which expand and contract, producing a distinctive hum. These slits or pores also allow both the release of spores by each colony and the absorption of other colony spores. I'm using this term for ease, but are these really seeds or something else? Both the hum and the spore exchange seem to be part of a complex communication network between individual stalk patches or colonies. However, like earth fungi, the visible part of these stalks may only be a small part of their overall mass. What networks might connect these colonies beneath the ground? Okay. And just to be clear, we need spore sample analysis requested, root sample analysis requested. When we complete the study, we'll actually get a sketch of these things she's been seeing. Okay, sing stalk. Sing stalks are towering fungal stalks that, through swaying, produce a distinctive hum or groan. Part of the stalk ecology found on the central reef, the precise role of sing stalks is particularly obscure. Their singing seems to connect with the sonic communications between stalks, as seen from the stalk's use of shrill sacs as an alarm mechanism, but what they are communicating remains unclear. Notably, sing stalks are often coated in sporing fungal growths which release spores as the stalks sway through the water. These spores, released high up in the water column, cover a large area of the reef. There is something tree-like in the structure of the sing stalks, so much so that they give the impression of an underwater fungal forest, strange yet familiar. So because those shrill sacs are a warning mechanism, we can use them to make these stalks retract, because they're hiding from predators, I guess. Okay, signal stalks are tall, thin, bubble-coated stalks which are often found beside other stalk colonies. Like other corlodes, signal stalks have a chitin exterior, but unlike other species, they feature prominent, irising pores that allow them to produce the large bubbles I've named shrill sacs. Through this, signal stalks act as the protectors of the stalk's colonies, their shrill sacs reaching when predators approach, resulting in a warning screech that causes nearby stalks to retract. This makes them a target for the creatures which graze on the stalks, and only some colonies are able to maintain a signal stalk protector. How do these stalks produce their bubbles, and what dictates their growth patterns? Further Further analysis of their physical products and structures should help. So this needs a bubble sample, a tissue sample. The other one needs a bark sample and a tissue sample. Okay. Then we've got a couple of animal types. The stalk scraper and the spore catcher. Our little colourful buddies. Spore catchers are small, soft-bodied creatures which move quickly through the water by using siphon jets. Their mantles, striped with bright colours that shift as they swim, allow the creature to modify their movement through the water with precise flapping motions. Watching them navigate the water is hypnotic, their rapid turns and loops showing incredible agility, flitting through the water like a bat or a bird. Spore catchers use this wide range of movement to pursue the various fungal spores that are produced by the reef stalks. The spore catchers seem to be highly selective about which spores they wish to consume, suggesting that analysis of the stalk spores might tell us more about the spore catcher's default behaviour and diet. Food sample, egg sample. And then we've also got the crab-ish buddies. Stalk scrapers are large, translucent shelled creatures with a distinctive swimming motion, which feed primarily on stalk colonies. Surprisingly nimble despite their size, stalk scrapers use some of their modified limbs to swim through the water and others to scrape away the chitinous membrane of the stalks. This is tolerated by the stalks to some degree, or they will also deploy shrill sacs to scare the scrapers away. Stalk scrapers seem to be one of the more socially active of the reef creatures and will call to each other when grazing or when frightened. Each specimen has a unique cloud pattern on its shell. I wonder how these are formed and what their significance is. Okay. So we can go and see what samples have been requested, I suppose. Right, but to do so, we need to transform these. So we've got a stalk bark, a shrill sac, and a stalk spore that we can put in there. And I guess if we go back to the lab, we can then analyse these. Yeah, so there's stalk bark. Okay, so it doesn't consume the sample. Okay, that's cool. Okay. I think we just had those three types of things. Cool. So I might as well take one of those back out with us. And there we go. To this, I guess we've now unlocked some more information. Yeah, so we've analysed the food source, the spores, and the bark. Analysis of the unique chemical compounds found in stalk spores and a wider understanding of how stalks use spores to communicate suggests a more mutual relationship between spore catchers and stalks than initially assumed. If stalks are able to tailor the chemical makeup of their spores, it is possible that the select spores the catchers eat are intended for their consumption and contain compounds and minerals attractive to this species. As spore catchers use their colour-shifting properties to hide amongst the stalk colonies, it seems increasingly possible that stalk colonies and spore catchers are mutualistically linked, and catchers serve the needs of specific stalk patches. What those needs are, however, is not yet clear. Analysis of a spore catcher egg, if found, may help us gain a full picture of their physiology. Analysis of stalk bark shows that it is chitin-based as suspected, containing glucose and high levels of polysaccharides. This makes it an ideal food source for the scrapers, but not only this, it makes the stalk membrane a vital substance for lichen scraper shell formation. The more stalk membrane consumed, the larger and thicker a scraper shell will become, which explains the variance in scraper shell size and translucency. Going further, shells may also be markers of a stalk scraper's importance within the community. A larger shell means a more effective grazer and therefore a more preferable partner. Further analysis of scraper shells is needed to continue this line of inquiry. Okay. So for the reef stalks, analysis of stalk spores has revealed a rich cocktail of compounds unique to each spore, some of which are previously unknown to human chemistry. This aspect of the spores and their noticeable exchange between colonies of stalks suggests that these chemical cocktails are part of an information exchange network. However, some of these spores also appear to be true spores used for the asexual reproduction of stalk colonies, suggesting that the information-carrying spores are adapted or modified reproductive spores. Analysis also suggests that stalk colonies may possess a high level of intelligence and cognition, and that the messaging provided by the spores is nuanced and even subjectively unique to each colony. Patterns across multiple spores from a single colony even suggest a chemical signature possessed by each stalk group. Could these be thought of as stalk names? Okay, I'm going to stop reading for now. I'm definitely going to go read through all of those in my spare time when I'm not streaming. But for now, I think we should get back out into the world. Oh, there's Ellery Vass. In fact, it looks like we should talk to her before we go out. But what I want to do, just so we have some more space, I'm going to drop some of those off. Let's go talk to Ellery Vass. This is her log. Many years gone and she's left behind one hell of a mess. This base is falling apart, cannibalized to build way stations out in the ocean. The communications array sliced away, life support failing. Where did she even commandeer this research base from? There's no way Baikal would have supplied it willingly after what she did to them. What did she call me out here for? To witness a disappearance? Or did she simply want me to encounter, as she did, the impossible life of this ocean? How could it have gone ignored for hundreds of years of exploration and conquest? There are too many questions to even begin. All I can do is keep account of what happens here, so that if I can't answer these questions, someone else might. It'll be weeks, maybe months, until the next ship passes close enough to pick up my shuttle transponder. Until then, I'm out here alone. This place is unbelievably important, our first contact with life beyond Earth, but something else is happening here too, and I need to know what it is. So on that note, we should go find out what's going on, at least a little bit more. So that's where we came from. Is that where we are? No. Signal priority. The base has detected a suit transponder at these coordinates. Could this be Minay? You have to head into the East Rift to find out. Sample request Sporecatcher. Sporecatcher movement suggests they nest in safety in the western stalk forest. Let's investigate. I saw stalk scrapers here when we crossed the forest. We should search this area for fragments of their shells. Obstruction. Minay's notes mention something called the bloom across this rift, but we won't have strong enough propulsion. Until we have strong propulsion, we won't be able to cross it. Okay. So there's obviously a bunch of things we can go and do. To get the tissue and the roots and everything. But we have to go, the only place we can go back to start diving from is the way station. So I guess we'll find new, different way stations as we explore. So let's go back to the Central Reef way station. But we have to get out this way. I'm pretty sure this way we couldn't get to because of the strong currents. So I guess we'll have to go here and explore. Try and figure out where to go next when we're on the ground, in the ocean, under the water. Yeah, now we're back. We've got these different routes we can take. Let's go here, because that looks like something we can take a sample from, perhaps. Okay, so it looks like it's now become a lot more free-form and exploratory. Now, we were sort of wanting to head that direction-ish. So let's go in this vague direction. The pale strata of this rock tell an ancient story. Might there be fossil records within such rocks waiting to be discovered? Were these rifts and canyons really carved by the currents? Or are they violent fractures now smoothed by erosion? Or this feature rises steeply towards the jagged edge of the reef, splitting strong currents like the head of an axe. That one seems most interesting. No, there's nothing really useful there. So I guess we'll just keep sort of vaguely exploring around, trying to figure out where to go. In the shadow of these huge outcrops, this pass leads towards the rift at the north edge of the reef. Ah, so this is how we get out to that rift that we can't cross yet. But it's worth mapping the route up there as we hear. From here, the reef descends into the unseen deep. Spores spiral by in the fast-moving waters. What else lies out there? This side of the shelf is sliced at by the planet's oceanic currents. Look at those flecks of organic material. They are being cycled back into the reef's ecosystem, drifting from unseen places out in the ocean. Must be part of some vast process. Do you think we'll ever understand the cycles of this ocean? No. Perhaps you're right. What could we hope to understand in the time we have? Okay, so I can't go out that way. Let's keep exploring this edge of the map for now. Keeping an eye on our power. Assume there's something in this direction. Yeah, there we go. Glittering stalk. This stalk clings to the edge of a nearby outcrop, away from the loose sand of the central reef. That's a sampling point, so let's go sample. Okay. Doot doot. So these are all shrill sacks, so we don't really need those, but we can always get rid of them if we run out of space. These gullies lead among the tall outcrops of the northern edge to the currents and open waters beyond. Yes, this was the rift that we couldn't go up before. Let's make our way east to the source of that transponder signal. I don't know what to expect if the transponder is Minay's. There's some history between us, but I haven't seen her in years. Not since some form of incident. Look, you don't need to worry about it. Let's just find her. Let's just go up this way first. The walls here have been smoothed into soft ripples, a sign of a strong current descending from the north. These stalks block the gully, but also the strong currents behind. Even if we cleared them, those currents will still block our passage. Okay, so we can't go that way, but I might as well just for now bloop that, as we've got plenty of those shrill sacks. Here the gully opens out onto one of the rifts, cutting deep into the bedrock of the reef. There, look, a cave entrance cut into the side of the rift. It should allow us to bypass the rift, although I'm not sure where we'll emerge. So is that the cave entrance? Protected by the sheer sides of the rift, this shelf leads down to a small cavern entrance in the reef wall. So let's go this way first. The sheer walls of the rift plunge into the dark waters here, and rapid currents make passing through difficult, if not impossible. Yes, we can't go that way, but we can go down that way. I guess for now we might as well explore into there. Oh, no, wrong button. That one. Target that one. Hopefully this will take us out on the other side somewhere. Okay, so we're not deep enough to go under the rift, judging by the contour lines. Curving passage. The round mouth of the cave stretches away into the rock. Stalks hum quietly in the dark. A natural cave. There is a strange evenness to the walls of this cave, almost as if it was a vast borehole drilled into the reef. Interesting. So maybe humans have been here before. Stalk patches. The stalks even seem to get down here. Perhaps they are less reliant on sunlight than I originally thought. Okay, so where is this taking us? Crossroads. We are deep in the rock now. What form these hollowed out caverns with their strange, undulating walls? I wonder how the stalks survive without sunlight. Maybe they are fed by the forest above. What do you think? No. It's true that we've seen no root system, but I don't think that eliminates the possibility. Well, I'm intending to be a disagreeable robot. So that's a sample point. It looks like we can still maybe go left a bit more. So let's see what's down here before we go to the right. The cave-in has severed some section of the stalk's root network, stretching down from the forest above. What can they tell us? Ooh, we needed to collect root samples, didn't we? So I guess let's see if we can collect root samples. We have no idea what this is, but let's try and grab it. I guess once we take them back to home base and do the scan, we get the information while we're out. Stalk root, a tangle of silken roots from a stalk colony carbon enriched. So they give us a lot of power and no oxygen. But we want to make sure we take one of those back with us because that was something that's been requested. Oh, so cool. Okay. I guess let's go around the rift. Narrow passage. The cave starts to get tight here in the shadows ahead. And in the shadows ahead, stalks crowd the tunnel. Guess that's a hint to make sure we've got some shrill sacks. Can we reorder things? No. Yes. So down this way it looks like it's blocked by stalks. The stalks here are thick and intertwined underground. In the stark light of the headlamps, they resemble brittle, oversized worms. Yeah, so we need one of those shrill sacks to unlock the route forwards. Open cavern. Bright light from the east of this large cavern is broken up by tall pillars, casting stripes of light and dark across the smooth walls. There's another deep rift there as well, which we can't go into yet. Broken pillar. These pillars punctuate the cavern, stalks crowded around their bases. They support the vast weight of the reef above. What's that big thing over there? Ooh. We don't know what that big thing is. That's a new thing. These stalks are filling the water with spores. We should start logging information on them. These domed stalks are pumping out clouds of short-lived spores. They look like oversized mushrooms. I guess let's go in that direction, see if we can sample stuff. Ah, pulsing growth. Perfect. Just what I always want to see. These bloated creatures are pumping clouds of spores out into the water. Around them, stalk colonies rise out of the sand. So maybe these are what make the stalks happen. Not sunlight. So it's 10% fungal, 15% signal apparently. So let's grab these samples. These spores are different. The stalks nearby seem to be stimulated by them. Could these spores be used to make the stalks extend, to bring them out of hiding? We should test them out on a retracted colony. You mean like that one down there, I assume? Okay, so... yeah, aha, it does bring them out. Interesting. I wonder if that's going to be required at some point. There's another one we can scan. Unlike other stalk spores, which survive until they settle, the spores from these stalks dissolve moments after they are released. These stalks seem to be shriveled up. Is it because they are exposed to the rift's withering currents? There's another one we can scan. These sporing stalks seem to require very particular conditions to grow. I've seen so few elsewhere on the reef. I guess let's grow these ones back as well to help the ecosystem while we're down here. That's the long stalk sits quietly beside a dying colony. Soon there won't be anything left for it to protect from scavengers. And that means we have to go up here and get more samples. There's one. Suve spore. That's what they've the doctor has started calling them. Alright, well let's... There you go. Get your colony back. Let's keep going. Tunnel mouth. The far side of the cavern narrows into darkness. I feel the faint pulse of distant currents ahead. So yeah, let's keep going into this cave system. Smooth passage. A current must have once run down this tunnel, scraping the walls into smooth lines. Now the stalks block the flow. So we need another of these to retract the stalks. The tunnel ahead is thick with stalks, scraping the ceiling with their rounded tips. I mean, that will get me demonetized from Twitch. Light filters in from a large opening, making the spores drifting in the water glitter like sparks. Now, this is a large cave system. I wonder where the way back up is. Oh, look, those stalks in the cave mouth. They are retracted. Perhaps if we could make them extend, they would block the current. The cave mouth ahead leaves this passage exposed to the full force of the northern current. Blocking it will somehow help us pass. Oh, okay. So maybe I shouldn't have been all kind and helped out all the other colonies. Oh well. Hopefully we'll get some more of these that we can sample. But I guess it's probably once per dive we can sample sites. Oh, maybe not. Oh, the ones that we tried to help earlier have died off again. That's not great. Oh no, we can sample these spores multiple times. That's good. So what I might do then, just in case we need it, is get another sample. There we go. Alright, now we can go back and continue onwards. Down through this route. Keeping an eye on our power situation, which I've just noticed has got quite low. What could we... They block the current. These spores encourage them to extend and fill the tunnel. With these Suve spores, we can control the stalks to our advantage. This will be useful. What was there? Was that for screamy stalks? Yeah, okay. Another of these growths supporting a smaller colony at the cavern's edge. Is there a logic to where these grow a pattern? There is a definite correlation between struggling stalk colonies and these sporing stalks. Are they helping support these colonies? So I guess we'll go to the covered shelf. Tucked into a rift wall, this shelf allows protection from the fast-flowing water cutting through the rock into the heart of the reef. Look, out in the rift, a retracted stalk colony. If we can get them to extend, they'll provide shelter from the current. Okay, that one. Guess as we're here, we might as well grab another one of these, because it looks like to get through here we're going to be using a few of them. And then we can go back in this direction. Now, which of these... You don't give power. The stalk bark gives power, and the stalk root gives a lot of power. So we're going to take a stalk root and keep the other one for analysing back at the base. A handful of stalks cling to the rift wall here, blown to spiralling shapes by the rushing current. Where do we go from here? Are we going into the rift? Interesting. Splattered with spores, the wall here feels the full force of the current. Perhaps it can be slowed upstream somehow. Yeah, we've done that bit. So where are we going while we're in here? Even this close to the wall, the darkness of the deep rift is intimidating. A huge slit in the face of this world. How deep does it go? Oh, and the soundscape's changed. If the current can be slowed or navigated, this is the place to do it, where the rift narrows and a gap opens up on both sides. So I guess we have to grow these stalks so we can go across somehow. So what's down here? The current slice down through the rift from the north here. Crossing is going to be difficult unless the flow can be slowed from further up. Hint, hint. Interesting. Oh, that's where we came through previously. Oh, okay, so we've activated sort of a shortcut. So we can come back through this without doing that big loop. Yeah, so we need to activate the other bit, that's fine. A huge pillar sits out from the wall here, its top caked in retracted stalks, a golden garden waiting to emerge. So if we go back up here, grab one of these, put it down there. That opens up this route for us. We can get above this rift, across this rift, and then it looks like there's a way back up on the other side. This small opening in the wall provides a little shelter from the howling rift, allowing stalks to take up root here. We're across. Thank you, stalks. Forks. And thanks you to you as well. Another smooth tunnel leads out towards the light, so let's keep going this way. Oh, if I remember which buttons to press. That one, that one, that one. A circle of warm light shows this tunnel opens out into the upper shelf of the East Rift. Or East Reef, not Rift. What lies above? Well, let's go find out. Oh, why is that set of stalks so perfectly semicircular and so rhythmically pulsing? Yes, I would like to scan that. That intrigues me. Stalk canopy. These stalks are twisted together into a huge canopy. These canopies are spectacular. I'll start logging observations. Let's see what we can find out about them. Yes, please. They are pulsing as the pores across their surface open and close. Interesting. Bright petals. This is new as well. These are beautiful plants, single petals shifting in the sunlight. Let's start logging data on them. These bright wide petals appear to be photosynthetic plants. They float on long stems, shifting and swaying in the water. Blooming petals, these plant-like creatures seem unrelated to the reef stalks. Their soft petals waving on thin stems. Can we take a sample of them? Feels good to be out in the sunlight again. Let's head northeast along this finger of the reef. The transponder is at the tip. Again, you're going to get me demonetized, game. 10% plants, 10% seeds. Yeah, sure, let's grab it. These give us a bit of power and oxygen. Third pollen extracted from petals in the East Reef. Okay. So I guess we need to... Oh, there's another one we can scan first. While each plant seems to have a single wide petal, they group together, forming fields of blooms, all angled towards the sun. So yeah, we need to go up that way. There's a way station there. Now we know what that looks like. So we'll do a bit of exploring on the way there. The fractured outcrops all around break up the worst of the northern current, protecting this sandy shelf. There's another one of those canopy blooms as well. Or stalk canopies, yeah. The coloration of these canopies is much lighter than other stalks. They glow pale yellow in the light of Glies's 667cc's Free Suns. What's this way? A colony of stalks has twisted itself tightly across this gap in the rocks. Could they be protecting something? Well, you know what that means. If they're protecting something, we have to go explore what it is. Exposed roots. Where the rock shelf has fallen away into the rift, the roots of the canopy above have been exposed. We could sample them here. Okay. There's two things we can sample here. Is this a new thing we've not found yet? It is. It's a different type of root. It's canopy root, root of the stalk canopy, made of many twisted filaments, as opposed to the stalk roots. As we're kind of running out of space as well. We've already analysed this. Well, actually, we're not far from the way station, so let's get back to the way station. We can always consume that if we need to. Whenever. Broken gully. The outcrops on this shelf are cut through with huge cracks as if they were shattered somehow. What could have done this? Now let's go back here because we didn't scan some of the stuff we can scan in this direction. That plant. Bright petals. The petals seem to shimmer as they twist and open. It's difficult to tell if this is involuntary or part of the plant's own movement. And this towering canopy of woven stalks pulsates in the soft current, sunlight slipping through the gaps in its branches. Well, that sounds lovely, so let's go that way. To you, bright petals. On some petals there is a thick clump of pollen on the lower part. I wonder how this is dispersed. It seems too heavy to float away. Shimmer blooms. Nice, we've named another species. I'm going to name these plants shimmer blooms for the way they catch the sunlight. I wish I could share these discoveries with Minnie. There's still so much to say. White single petal plants that come in a variety of hues. They appear to be primarily photosynthetic and produce a heavy, furred-looking pollen. Doing okay with the stalk canopies too. High up in the wide canopy I can see that the stalks are twisted around strange ribbed growths. What are they holding up there? Interesting. Interesting. I kind of wonder... Yeah. Yeah, I want to go down this little canyon first, because it looks like it's got a dead end. So let's explore down here. Then we can always go back and explore the route we're clearly supposed to be taking. Stalks have grown across this gully, reconnecting the two huge pieces of rock that look like they must have been one. We still have one final shrill sack we can use to get through there. There's much more of it. We're going to struggle to get further. But we've got another one of these. Another stalk canopy. This canopy has many gaps between its higher stalks, as if something has fallen out or been removed from it. And stress marks can still be seen along the edge of this huge rock, but it remains silent about its own history. Yeah, there seems to be like a sneaky route around here. This stalk looks silently out over the deep rift. I wonder if Mine looked over the same view with different eyes. So we can sample, and we can go here. Slashed stalk. This bubble-coated stalk has large gashes in its side and seems to be shriveling away. Its exposed tissue could be easy to sample. We needed a tissue sample. What's out there? Across this wide rift, the tall walls of the reef's second finger can be seen. What lies inside them, I wonder? We definitely can't go that way, right? Because of the current, yeah. So we can finish this canopy scan, though. Table stalks. Lovely. I've named these table stalks after the table corals they remind me of. I'll log my notes back at the base. Okay, we can sample here as well. I think we're full, but that is that's a stalk segment of tissue from a bubble producing stalk. And that gives us loads of power. Okay. So yeah, we've already done the stalk bark, so let's throw that in the engine, or whatever we do with it. Let's get another one of these. Yeah, that seems good. But I think we want to get back to the waypost. The waypoint? Way station. The way something. So we can take all these new fancy samples back to our central base. Which will be along this way. Shimmering field. Bright petals line this part of the reef, shimmering and swaying, parting easily as I pass among their delicate forms. So I guess we can sample the petals here? We already sampled the petals? Yeah, we've already got some bright pollen, so we don't need to sample them right now. But we can have a look at this reef cap, as we've now named it. With their strong resemblance to terrestrial mushrooms, I'm going to call these reef caps. Domed, mushroom-like stalks which appear to support struggling stalk colonies with a supply of special spores. We have a thriving colony over here. Fed by spores, shielded by a colony of stalks, this part of the reef seems to have fostered the ideal conditions for its own survival. Is that another way station ahead? I think so. Mine must have built them all across the reef. Central clearing. In the centre of this shelf is a beautiful clearing, screened from currents and predators. No wonder Mine set up a way station here. In the scattered shadows of golden canopies and knee-deep in shimmering petals, this way station sits silent. Okay, open up the terminal and see what data we can scrape from this place. Last access history cleared, blah, blah, blah. We can do power. We can do oxygen. I assume at some point we're going to have to manage our oxygen. We don't have to yet. We can get the map data as well. The logs suggest Mine was using this as some kind of staging ground for or expeditions over the drop-off. She was looking for something out in the ocean, something deep from the descent she logged here. Minnie doesn't do things at random. The way station's the research base. This is calculated. I feel like we're already 10 steps behind her, and we've barely even started. Let's get to that suit transponder. It isn't far from here. If we head straight north to the shelf's edge, it should be there. Is this where we can also... Yeah, we can also request retrieval. Now we've mapped this area. So I guess let's do what it's saying. Split outcrop. Like many of the large rocks on the shelf, this outcrop has been split, creating a passage to the east and another to the north. You know what that means if someone tells us to go north? We ignore them. And go the other way. Another pulsing growth, surrounded by shimmering petals. A pulsing stalk pumps out spores. These carbon-rich particles feed the plants too. Eastern passage. As the shattered edge of the reef curves away to the east, the currents fade and the static water glows warmer. Or grows warmer, I suppose. I really love these. The way the canopy looks even on our scanner. Tall canopy. From the cover of this canopy I can see a series of tall pillars out to the east, each one topped with a garden of unknown life. I guess we can't go out there. Just for yet. A strong current cuts across the east edge of the shelf with the turquoise haze of the open ocean stretching beyond. Yeah, so at some point we'll get, I imagine, a more powerful suit so we can go and explore these areas that are currently locked off to us. So I guess we'll do what it says and go in the direction it's telling us to. A swirl of sand suggests this passage leads to the reef edge and the open water beyond. Okay. Exposed clearing. This side of the finger feels exposed, but thanks to its current splitting outcrops, it remains in a bubble of calm. Okay. Open ocean. At the tip of this shelf, the outcrop falls away to reveal an unrestricted view of the vast ocean. It is both terrifying and beautiful. I see something at the edge. Is that the suit? Minnie's suit. Open, empty, and half sunk in sand. Why would she leave it here? And more importantly, where did she go? It's definitely Minnie's suit, but no Minnie. Surely she isn't. Okay, let's not jump to conclusions. I want to take a look at this. It can't have been here long, most of it's still in good condition, but how did it get out here? There's no evidence of injury, a malfunction perhaps. What do you think? Not a malfunction. No, you're right. Then she left it on purpose, abandoned it. Did she intend us to find it? Minnie, what have you gotten yourself into here? It's better equipped than our suit, but the seals have started decaying. What's this? Minnie has rigged up some kind of custom propulsion system, probably to do with the currents. Useful. We can use this, we'll need a power source, it won't run off the suit's system. Seems like she fashioned some kind of microbial fuel cell. We'll need to recreate that if we want to use it. Okay, let's get this back to base so I can take a better look. Minnie, you better not have done something stupid. I didn't come all this way out here to bury you. Good. Glad we're keeping it light for a Sunday. Let's go call for the drone pickup. Okay, I guess we're going back to base with the suit and everything. I always seem to be down for 4.2 hours when she does any upgrade. Back with me. Yeah, go on then. Good to hear. Let me update you. I've spent the past few hours working on Mine's suit. Bad news is the majority of it is unusable. Apart from that propulsion system Mine pulled together, but we're going to need a power source. Mine's suit logs mentions her building a fuel cell using microbes from the Western Reef, but they don't say much else. She's been incredibly secretive while she was here, covering her tracks across the reef as if there was someone watching, or she's just... I don't know. The Mine I knew is tricky, complicated, but not paranoid. Either way, if we want to recreate her propulsion system, we need those microbes. When you're ready, let's head to the Western Stalk Forest and see what we can find. Okay. So, before we do that, we should drop off all of the stuff we found so we can stick it through the analyzer. Which was down this way, wasn't it? Yeah. So, we found some stalk roots. And we found some Suve spores. And we found some canopy roots. And we found some bright pollen. Okay, which does not let me drag for some reason. So let's try the stalk segment first. Signal stalk taxonomy entry updated. There we go. It's having a little bit of a bug there. We found some bright pollen as well. Shimmer blooms updated. Okay, so we've scanned everything. So now we go to the taxonomy. We've now got plants in here as well, which are those petals we found. And I'm not going to read all of this at you just now. I am curious to see, yeah. So the reef stalk, we've now unlocked all of the bits. So we've got theories as well. Close analysis of stalk root networks reveals something surprising. The root networks are in fact part of a symbiote, a different fungal species entirely which exists within the stalk's bodies. This fungal symbiote provides a carbon exchange network which runs throughout the bedrock of the reef, connecting all colonies into a single web. This symbiote also produces the spores which the stalks use to communicate, but these spores are edited by the stalks themselves to act as reproductive agents, information carriers, and chemical delivery systems. If the stalks are able to edit the genetic signatures of these spores and their parent species, their intelligence and complexity must be way beyond what I previously theorized. Close analysis of stalk spore language could reveal an entire corpus of communication. Are there stalk jokes, stalk histories, or even stalk literatures? And we've unlocked a sketch now. Oh, those, yeah, that definitely looks rude. Lictal growths, irising pores, chitin plate boundaries, input pore and output pores. We can increase the size of it as well, so to speak. Cool. Did we get enough for any of the other ones? Yeah, we've got enough for the signal stalks now. So let's go have a look at that. Sketch here. So these were the really kind of tall ones with the bubbles, the shrill sacks. A shrill sac cache, subsidiary stalks, a released shrill sac, sensory growths, and gas vents. Very cool. Okay. Well, let's have a look at her next personal log quickly. Oversight, all privacy protocols revoked, yeah. Mine is gone and she's left behind one hell of a mess. The base is... No, we've done that one. Mine's suit open to the ocean, empty. What has she done? I'm trying hard to reconcile the Mine I once knew with the evidence in front of me. When I met her on Kepler 6-2f, she was intense and quiet but calculated, intelligent. She wasn't someone to take unnecessary risks, to leap into the unknown. At first I found her impossibly intimidating. Her experience working as a biologist far outstripped my own. Baikal brought me to the site as a consultant to examine her discoveries, but I felt like the one under examination. The base was much like this one, a smaller, older model sunk in a subglacial ocean. Someone might think a relationship was inevitable given those intimate conditions, but it wasn't the base that brought me to her, it was that intensity. Over the few years since I've tried not to dwell on what happened on Kepler 62f, but being here, living where she has lived, following her scattered steps, it's impossible not to remember. Okay. She's down at the lab. Okay, which of these... Now, I think the tissue samples were quite useful for power, so we'll keep some of them. And we probably want one each of those if we're going to encounter any stalks. Didn't really figure out what the petals were good for. So we can keep the rest of those here for now. And if we go have a look at the dive map quickly. So these splits seem to be the kind of rifts, the areas that we struggle to get to at the moment. So that's where it's suggesting we go next. Down in that direction. So I think what we'll do is we'll do one more dive, and then maybe we'll wrap it up after that dive. So if you want to go and explore, with the powerful suit, you'll have to get this yourself, and it is on sale at the moment for a ridiculously cheap price. But let's go and have a bit more of an explore over to the west first off. The pale sand is unmoving here, but to the north I can see the yawning chasm and strong currents of a wide rift. Bare boulders, the stalks are noticeably absent from the sides of the northern rift. Why do they leave such a clear buffer zone beside it? Why indeed? The central reef way station lies within a bubble of calm, but just to the north is a massive rift. It brings strong currents through the reef. So let's go and have a quick peeky at the rift before we keep going. The passage between these rocks leads out to the howling currents of the northern rift. It does seem like there's a way round the rift over there though. The northern rift is the largest of the cuts into the central reef even. Crossing it without some way of navigating its currents would be suicide. Impressive, this split in the shelf is incredibly wide and deep. Those currents would smash us against the rocks if we swam out into the flow. We're going to need better equipment if we want to cross that monster. Flecks of spores and other organic material whip past in the current, dragged into the dense stalk patches in the west. Which is where we're going. So let's turn back around and start heading that direction. Outside of the shimmering perimeter of the western stalk forest, almost nothing lives or grows on this finger of the reef. The western side of the finger becomes increasingly enclosed by rocky outcrops as it leads towards the shallower water. Metal debris. Looks like Mine has had to salvage parts of the base to build what she needed to survive. She must have been here many months before I arrived. Let's go have a look at the metal debris. Smooth pebbles. Large smooth pebbles sit in the sand, and beyond I can see the sun's catching the amber terraces of another stalk forest. We don't need to go that way, so let's turn around and go back this way. Open sand. Across the open sand I can see the faint shapes of stalk colonies rising up in ordered rows. Oh yeah, there we go. We're back into some stalks. Oh, some ruined equipment lies in the shelter of two boulders. An early way station, perhaps. So that's some bubble stalks if we need some shrill sacks. I don't think we do just yet, but we can remember it's there. Patterns of stalks stretch back into the distance, pathways and terraces of some unknown design. This must be the Western Stalk Forest. Minet's map data mentions a microbe which only occurs in this stalk forest. If we can find 4 healthy colonies, it will make the ideal basis for the propulsion system's fuel cell. Unlike in the southern reef, the stalks here are ordered in curving rows, tightly packed and evenly spaced. Okay, if we're going into a stalk forest, we will need a bunch of the shrill sacks, so we might as well go collect some. Okay, so that should give us plenty of things to get through the forest. Oh, that's new. A bloated stalk. You can tell, yeah, the pentagram of things around it is very unique. I've started logging data on these strange inflated stalks. They look ill. These stalks bulge out from their bases, forming rounded, pulsing growths that look discoloured and stretched. Yeah, lockdown was tricky on us all. This growth is bloated and distended, the panels of chitin bulging outwards, and between the seams something flows within. What are those strange inflated stalks? They look like sporing growths we found in the eastern caves, but there's something wrong with them. We need to break them open somehow so we can sample the microbial colony inside. Let's see if they respond to the shrill sacks. Okay. Oh dear, it burst. Microbial 30%. Spark colony. We've got one, but the clouds of microbes these stalks released are incredibly toxic. The suit is having to flush its vents with oxygen to protect me. We've lost a lot of reserve oxygen. Oh, good. We're going to need to be fast when sampling these bloats. Let's get another 3 colonies. Yes, okay. Right. Be careful, I don't want to run out of oxygen out here. Yep, okay. Fair enough. So, we'll need to... That's a signal stalk. Does that... What can we get from signal stalks? Is that what allows us to get more shrill sacks? Yeah. Let's get a couple more. Actually, we can get one more because we're going to need to put a lot of shrill stacks around by the look of it. Because we need one there. We need one in that direction as well. And I guess let's go this way first. As they curve south, the stalks meet the rising wall of rocks which shelter the southern reef. And there's another one over there. What's in this direction? Between the rocks and the stalks, a thin sandy passage leads towards a clearing, so let's check that way first. A small clearing between the avenues of stalks to the west, their ordered rows dissolve into the chaos of the southern forest. Clouded shell Fragments of a shell recently shed a glint in the sand like shards of cloudy glass. Ah! That's something we needed, I think, for our crab friends from before. Yes, a piece of a creature's shell with a cloud pattern. Perfect. Always worth going off the obvious path to go and cheekily nick some secrets. We have to go back up that way, do we? So we can get up more shrill sacks over there. But we want to go this direction first. Let's just see which the route out is. The route out's that direction. So yeah. I guess let's go get these first, because we'll then have to leg it when that thing explodes. Okay. So let's go up to this side. We want to explode it and get the sample very quickly and then run away. Explode. Sample. Grab the thing. Move away. Hopefully we're now out of danger, but we can still scan the thing. The membranes of these stalks is thin enough to be translucent in areas stretching to the breaking point by whatever's inside. Stalks form a loose perimeter around this growth, which bulges unsettlingly. There's a lot of unsettling terms generally in this. There's two ways to go here again. It'll be easy to become lost in the complex patterns traced by these rows of stalks. I wonder where they lead. Versus, if these stalks are isolating the bloats, perhaps it's because they're dangerous to the colony itself. So, when alarmed, these stalks burst open, releasing their toxic contents into the local water. Could they be defending themselves? So, let's do that. Oh, that was close enough to activate that, so guess let's get this sample and then cheese it again. Cheese it in that general direction. Oofed. We need one more spark colony. So it said we needed 4, so let's keep going in this direction. To the west stands the final pathway of stalks before the colony fades out into sand and rock. There's something different about the growth patterns in this forest. The ones further south are more chaotic, but these stalks are almost arranged avenues or terraces. Do you think they might be protecting something? Maybe. But what would they be fortifying? And why all the diseased bloats? What's here? The stalks atop a corroded husk of a boulder, melting down to little more than a pebble. Okay. Where was... I'm sure there was another route we could go upwards as well. Past that stalk. Yep, go that way. Go that way quickly now. That's another one of these. Okay, do any of these give oxygen? That one gives oxygen. That one just gives power. Shrill sacks give a little bit of oxygen. Let's get some oxygen back from that. Let's shrill sack over there. And shrill sack here. grab the sample. Great, now we have plenty of these microbial colonies, but where did the infection come from? The stalks seem to be struggling to deal with it. Could you maybe stop talking? Or is this just part of the expected life cycle? What do you think? I don't know. We need to leave. Maybe you're right, but it's impossible to know without further study. Don't be chatting in the toxic spores, Doctor. That is bad planning. Either way, let's bring these back to base as soon as we can. We'd analyse these samples. There. Call in the pickup. Absolutely not. I wish to explore further into what these things are protecting while we're out here. Okay. So we go in this direction. The bloated stalks seem to be precisely spaced out between the stalks. Are we damaging this colony by disturbing them? Well, yeah, probably. I feel like if you're going around exploding stuff, you're probably not doing the colony a great service. This side of the colony loops back towards its centre, leading deeper between the stalks. It seems unlikely the bloats are simply individually diseased stalks. Their growth pattern suggests a system, a process. So we're going up this way. See what we can find. This chalky covering melted away by bloat. The rock has a dull metallic sheen. Okay. Beyond these stalks, I can see a sheer ridge rising up to the north. So we're going out that way. Let's see what's at the heart of this stalk forest. Northern Ridge. North of here, an angular ridge ascends, cutting the shelf in two. The only way further north is to cross the rift to the east of here. Tucked into the side of this corroded rock, a pile of stones with worn holes sit in the sand. Within a hole, something glitters. I mean, this sounds like treasure to me. Behind this tall stalk, layers of thick growth surround a maze of rocks, blocking the passage back east. So what can we sample in here then? Animal or egg? Ooh. Is this the egg sample we were looking for? Striped egg. An egg sampled from a spore-lined nest. It could be, you know. This is good. Let's move over here and just see if there's any other routes we could go if we had stuff. No. Cool. So I think it seems like all these explosive stalks and this maze of stuff is actually protecting our little stripe buddies from earlier. Another bloated stalk. The pulsing, pumping rhythm of these stalks' contractions suggest that some process is happening inside them. Yeah, I need to make sure. There's obviously one more to scan that I didn't scan. There it is. Reef bloat. As large bloated stalks that burst easily, expelling the toxic microbes held inside their bodies. Their movements suggest unseen processes. That's enough data to log and classify these inflated stalks. I'm going to call them reef bloats. Cool. Okay. So the eggs as well give us a lot of power, quite a bit of oxygen. But I think we can just call an extraction now. I don't think we have to find our way back manually. And it looks like we've visited everything. So I think we're good to go back. Oh no, we've not gone down this route yet. A pulse could be felt running through the shelf from the north, making the sand ripple in small, soft waves. So let's just go down this route quickly. Make sure we've not missed anything important. We need another... explodey thing. There was a sample place up here. So if we go up here, grab a sample. And then we can go through there. I suspect that's just a separate route through this maze. Let's have a look. Okay. To the west, the stalks spread in thick pathways curving between strangely corroded stones. Yeah, I think this is a route we've already been. Yep. Perfect. So we can link again, request retrieval, go back to our main base. And are we going to be out for... Oh, we're only out for 3.6 hours this time, not 4.2. Hey, you ready to get back to work? No. Well, tough luck, because I've had a very few productive hours. Fair enough. I've been working on that propulsion system. I've used those 4 microbial samples to grow a new colony in the lab. Then I transferred it to a secure containment capsule, nice and snug. I followed what I could from Minet's notes on building a microbial fuel cell. It's all loaded onto the suit. The NFC fed directly from our reserve oxygen supply. Now we just need to take the suit out for a dive to test it. It's going to take plenty of oxygen to fuel the colony, so bring any samples that will help you out. Make sure not to take any we haven't put through the analysis on the lab level first. I don't want to burn through hours of research just to get a power boost. This propulsion system will let us pass through strong currents and move more quickly. We should be able to cut across that rift north of the way station and finally see what the bloom finally is. Ready when you are. Alright, well, clearly what we need to do, transfer all our samples, at least some of our samples anyway, we've not analysed. Go to the lab and analyse them. Reef bloat taxonomy updated. Clouded shell. And stripy egg. Okay, now have we... Yeah, so we finished the spore catchers. So analysis of the spore catcher eggs shows a strong correlation between the minerals it contains and the minerals present within the catcher's favoured spores. It seems that through the spores, stalks are able to affect the catcher's egg production, therefore controlling the volume, traits and behaviour of catchers within any area of the reef. In a sense, the stalks have domesticated the catchers, leaving the two intrinsically linked as a species. But the question of what the catchers provide the stalks remains. Do catchers serve a specific purpose, consuming unwanted or incorrectly configured spores, for example, or are they kept for other reasons? Could the catchers be kept by the stalks for their companionship and social use, just as human keeps pets? Oh, that is not what I expected them to look like at all. I was expecting something more kind of sleek and fish-like. That's kind of almost more ray-like. Pretty. We've also, I think, got enough to see the crabs now. Chemical analysis of a stalk scraper shell confirms that not only are they made from stalk membrane materials, the distinctive cloudy coloration comes from the stalks too. Stalk coloration, like most fungal coloration, is reflective of the local water acidity and the medium the fungus grows in. I did not know that. This variance of amber, orange, yellow and even green pigments is passed directly to scraper cells when consumed, resulting in beautiful whorls and blobs of colour. A scraper shell is a living record of every stalk colony it has fed on, and therefore a marker of territory and social standing. Scraper shells could be used to help study the entire reef and its shifting ecosystem, each one a chemical map of the local history, readable for those who can learn the significance of its forms. Leg extension points, cloud markings on shell, scraping limbs, swimming limbs. Very cool. Alright, and we'll finish up, I think. Have we not got another one? We've not got another one, so we don't have another one there to read. So if we were to go back into the dive map, you'll see that we have to go up here into the area we couldn't get to before, but now we've got a propulsion suit. There's also other bits that we can now access, like down here. We can now access thanks to the propulsion. We didn't know that we could go all the way over here with the reef bloat, so we'd have to navigate over there at some point. However, we've also got over there as well with the pillars. But I think for now, I'm going to cap the stream off here. We've been doing for about 2 hours and 20 minutes. We've done, what's that, 3 dives now? And we've explored quite a bit of this reef. And you can see that there's, yeah, I'd say quite a bit more of reef to explore going further north. But yeah, I've kind of enjoyed this as just chill, well, mostly chill, swimming around, figuring out little pathways, figuring out little secrets to analyze things and get more information about them. And you can see there's loads of other kind of bits where we can explore and go back to and figure out more kind of more ways and routes through the world, through the environment, to find out more about the strange ecosystem and creatures who live in here. So yeah, this is in other waters, and it's a very relaxed game about swimming around, discovering this ecosystem, trying to solve little mysteries. As I said, this is on sale right now for a ridiculously cheap price. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I'm going to keep playing this, keep discovering what else is out here. There's also Citizen Sleeper, which has been rightly very acclaimed as a very interesting kind of hard sci-fi, more sort of cyberpunky thing about memory and sentience, which I highly recommend you check out as well. I think that's on sale too, and it's the game that they made after this. And that's kind of a bit more like a tabletop RPG where you're rolling dice and using the dice rolls to do different things. So I guess perhaps a little bit more what some people would call kind of gameplay mechanics in that. There's more kind of the kind of tabletop gameplay mechanics, whereas this is much more of an exploration and kind of, well, exploration-focused narrative game, I'd say. But anyway, thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's a bit more relaxed than the last couple I've done, which has been a nice change. But yeah, I will see you again next Sunday. I maybe will potentially play Citizen Sleeper next Sunday as a follow-up to this, but we'll see. We'll see how I feel. And from myself and the screaming dolphins in the chat, have a good rest of your weekend, or day whenever you're watching this. Cheers all.